Booster the Unsung Goat Gold has been a topic of discussion since the announcement of James Gunn's release way back when. Now, not a lot of people know about Booster and what he does, and most people take him for a comic relief character as he's iterated in most media that we consumed since the early 2010s. The average viewer has either only heard of Booster Gold when he was introduced as a part of the DCU timeline of movies and series, and some only know him from that TikTok edit that has been consuming the platform at the time of his writing. But thanks to that latter part of that sentence, the curiosity of Booster Gold has risen. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to answer the questions unanswered by the general creator. Now, coming here, you may already know the basics. His origin being a retired football player turned time traveler who went back in the 21st century to become a famous superhero. He took sponsor deals and is one of the most irritating heroes in the Justice League, yada yada yada. Now, you'd think, Greg, if he's so basic, why are people treating him like he's such a big deal? Well, Jeff, he is. Deep in the bowels of the DC archives lays the true story of Booster Gold, his true role in the DCU, and why he is the most complex, intriguing, and downright depressing superhero in the universe. And that is what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. In today's cult meeting, we are going to be discussing the darkest books that Booster Gold has, his role in the DCU, and how important he really is, and learn more about the hero that you've never heard of. First, you need to understand what kind of powers Booster Gold actually has. Near invulnerability, flight, energy blasts, and most importantly, time travel. And we all know the gist. With great power comes great irresponsibility. Normally, when you think of heroes who abuse time travel and has used it for their own personal gain, you think of Barry Allen's Flash. But Booster Gold has actually done the whole Flashpoint thing and got so traumatized from it, he vowed to make sure that the timeline stays intact in the best way he can. When did I find this out? In the DC comic series The Gift, Booster Gold goes back in time to give Batman the best wedding present of all time. If you're not aware, this is the time Bruce and Selina was getting married. Booster, trying to be a good friend, goes back in time and saves Bruce's parents. Oh yeah, this man thought it would be a good idea to go back in time and undo the thing that created the Batman. He comes back after doing that, coming to find out Green Lantern unalives himself. Dick Grayson is a gun-wielding Batman, and Bruce is the most insufferable character ever. He tries to tell Bruce what he did, and in response, Bruce kills Skeets, and Booster is now stuck in a world that he made. Breaking Selina Kyle out of prison, he believes that this is the right way to go. He ends up slaughtering the Wayne family via Selina Kyle. Punisher Bruce Wayne and a mentally broken Booster Gold travel back to the time where his parents died in Crime Alley. And after failing to stop the Booster Gold trying to stop Booster from stopping him from killing his parents, he unalives himself again. Everything goes back to normal, but we find out Booster is riddled with trauma and has now developed PTSD from this moment. Now, if you want a more in-depth reading of the comic, go check out the comic story and video reading of the entire comic. After reading this comic, I dug even deeper down into the rabbit hole known as Booster Gold. Now, turns out, after the Flash created Flashpoint, Booster the Goat Gold, the guy trying to repair a timeline that Barry broke. Oh yeah, when Barry was out saving his mom and trying to repair the timeline after doing that, Booster Gold was the guy making sure that everything returns to its proper place. The best he could. He couldn't get everything right, but everything's still there. Sure, he didn't get everything perfectly, but seeing the power he possesses and the amount of responsibility that he has on his shoulders is staggering. This is also highlighted in the new Justice League animated series in the early 2020s, Justice League Action. In the animated show, Batman goes on an adventure with Booster Gold, believing him to be one of the worst superheroes of all time. But after being dragged into the Booster Cave, which is one of the weirdest names, but it's the most Booster Cord thing ever, he finds out that what Booster does whenever he isn't around, us alongside Batman figure out what Booster has been doing. He's been fighting anomalies that threaten the timeline and could possibly cause it to collapse. Batman, finding out Booster goes back in time, monitoring the timeline and making sure everything plays out accordingly and making sure everything goes to plan as the universe intended it, gives him a newfound respect for the Golden Goose. Now, with that knowledge, you'd think Batman would keep this knowledge and have this respect over Booster for the rest of his life, right? No! Nearing the end of the episode, we find out that this was not the first time him and Batman had an adventure like this. Turns out, this is basically another Tuesday for Batman and Booster, and Bruce will lose all of his memories from this adventure that they just had. This is something Booster does to almost all of the heroes that he has adventures with when it comes to time travel. That reason being, when he brings another hero into what he does, it eats up too much of his power cells, draining them of his powers, meaning he can only do this alone for so long. Well, he can only have a friend that can help him out for too long, but you get the idea. To me, ever since the incident of the gift, Booster Gold has quietly become one of the most unsung, unrecognized, and underappreciated heroes to this day. This is because it's overshadowed by his comedic nature. But you have to realize, this comedy isn't coming from a place of funny haha comic relief guy, no! This is coming from a hero who has seen things that we can only imagine. He has seen his friends die, timeline shatter, and still finds a way to mask all of it under a veil of humor. In the same episode that we have talked about before, Batman himself is baffled by the fact that Booster Gold is one of the most responsible meatheads he has ever met, fighting timeline-threatening events alone most of the time, and having to push his friends out of the time stream because his suit can't take it is just heartbreaking. Booster Gold is one of the most hard-working, complex, and dangerously powerful superheroes of all time. Mixing the responsibility of carrying the entire timeline on your back and having a sense of humor to back it up has to be exhausting. The more you look at it, if you really look at it, Booster Gold is by far the most powerful superhero in the DC, and he gets overlooked because of the fact that most people think he's a comic relief character. But now that more light is being shined on him, more and more people are realizing how much of a goat this man actually is. Not to mention his potential of being the most tactical mind as well. Going back in time and making sure everything stays according to plan and fighting anomalies that threaten everyone's very existence. You wouldn't think Booster would learn from every encounter that he has ever come across? I believe Booster has a mind so good at planning out encounters, attack strategies, and problem-solving skills that the writers completely forget about, by the way. Of course, I don't consume enough Booster Gold comics to make that assumption, and I only got into the character via Batman Brave and the Bold later on, and ironically, the Justice League animated series. During the making of this video and having to go back and revisit some Booster Gold media, I've come to find a newfound love and respect for him. Not only does he put his life on the line every single time he goes out on adventures with Ted Kord and the Justice League, but he also deals with the fact that the entire timeline we hold dear in our hearts lays on his shoulders. And it's up to him to keep everything intact and in order, no matter how many times it takes and how many memories he has to wipe. And that's what makes Booster golden. But that's all I got for you in today's episode. What are your thoughts? You think Booster Gold really is an unsung goat? Or am I just rambling on defending a worthless hero? Let me know down in the comments. Now I know I promised a Gamma Jack video, but don't worry, that is still happening. I'm just making more videos that aren't Incredibles related because let's face it, I ain't just an Incredibles channel. I'm a lore and video essay channel, and sometimes I make documentaries too. So if you like that kind of content, be sure to leave a like as it gets the video out there, and subscribing will help the channel grow as we are growers and not showers. That's all from your boy. I hope you have a wonderful day, and in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.